Hi everybody. Today I'm just going to talk about translation quality and translation certification and how you can make some sense of it. So first of all, there is no global standard for the translation industry. So there is no quality standard that you can just automatically relate to no matter which country you're in and rely on what is going to be produced. Okay, it's a lot of subjectivity, and every country seems to have worked out their own way of dealing with this, on the whole. So, first of all, there are process standards, okay, and these are company level standards, okay. So, a very common one that most people would understand is ISO 9001. This is a global quality management standard that organisations can undertake and get audited against, and that's produced by the International Organisation of Standardisation. Okay, and really that's just saying that you run your business correctly, that you minute your management meetings, that you treat your staff correctly, that you're a viable company and that you do the right things to show that you run a quality organisation. Not an easy standard to get. There's a fair bit of auditing and policies and procedures that you have to put in place to get that standard. Following on from that, there is another company standard. This one is called EN 15038. Okay, and that is a company quality management standard created by the European Committee for Standardisation. Okay, and this is a standard that is the most widely used translation standard in the world. Developed in Europe, where obviously they have a number of translation requirements across a whole range of their members. And this is a really thorough standard. Just to let you have a look, this is our audit book for EN 15038. So we've got our audit checklist, analysing translation inquiries, client feedback, handling a translation project. We've then had to develop policies for every single one of the items in the standard. Okay, very thorough. How we deal with jobs, what a job description is, how it's worked, what our purchasing policy is, our payment schemes, all the things that show that you run a good translation organisation. But it does get down into the detail. So you're also looking at how you handle quotes. You've got full process diagrams on every step that's taken in the translation process, and how we assign translators our client feedback. So it's a really thorough standard. Companies that have EN 15038 are really going to produce a much higher quality translation than companies that do not have it and have not gone through the audit process. Then what you get is individual country specific certifications. So for instance, in the US and the UK, no particular standard in those countries. They would tend to rely on company standard certifications. In Canada you have the CAN standard, which is developed in Canada specifically for translation industry. In Australia you have NATI. So with these standards, the individual translator has to have this standard and has to go and sit a test and pass a test in their language pair. And then they get a stamp that can be used for legal purposes. So on the whole, these certifications are used for things like immigration certificates, people needing to change country or get passports. Those types of translation projects, not generally for the bigger corporate type projects. And in Europe, you can have sworn translators. So these are translators who have been sworn in by a judge that they meet a certain standard of quality. Okay, so they haven't set a test, but a judge has gone through and seen that they have these standards and then signed them off. Okay, and thirdly, you have universities. So you have degrees and you have language-specific degrees that translators go and sit. Okay, and again, it's just like any degree. It's proving that person has a level of competency in the degree that they've gone and passed, and then they are specific to the language pairs that they work in. Okay, so this sort of tells you you know, all the parts that make up a quality standard. At Straker, we take note of all this. Obviously, we're certified in ISO 9001 and also in EN 15038. And we use translators as a rule that have a degree and native speaking in the target language. But we also pre-vet and test all of our translators, so we go through a very thorough and expensive testing and vetting process. We then run trials, so we see how that person performs. So they do some jobs, some smaller jobs for us. We see to make sure that they, that they deliver on time and that they get it to the right standard. And then over time, we report and track all of the metrics around these translators, and we give them the feedback, and we take that feedback in-house to make sure that they are meeting all of the requirements that our customers are after. So that is a quick overview of translation standards and translation quality. And please feel free to view our website and check out the notes to get some of the links and some of the pointers to what I've talked about in this webcast.